Alright, this is the second part of my school video. It isn't really related to the first story, other than the fact that they take place at school. This is kind of a collection of random stories that I don't really want to make into their own videos. Our first story is called Shirts. You don't really need any context for this story. My 4th grade teacher was awesome. She came up with clever assignments all the time. One such assignment was about shirts. We got to design our own t-shirt and had to market it to all the students, who each got a specific amount of fake money to spend. The goal was to make the most money by having a good design and setting a fair price. I wasn't a good artist back then. I'm still not. So I decided to use words. I must have seen a real shirt from a sport equipment company who, for copyright reasons, we'll call Mikey, because I came up with this shirt featuring their slogan, "Just get it done." We all know the real one. I attempted to be funny, though, and the shirt turned out like this. Now, this is not grammatically correct, so if I had to change it, the shirt would look more like this. But that's besides the point. So, the day when we marketed our shirts came around, and we all wrote down how many of each shirt we wanted. I, being the hopeful shirt salesman I was, checked who had bought mine. And then I noticed something odd. One person had bought 500 shirts, which he didn't have the required funds to purchase. I informed him of this mistake, and he changed the number of shirts he bought from 500 to 2. Now, I understand this was a much wiser purchase, but imagine if this had happened in real life. A man wants to buy 500 shirts, you get all excited to finally make some money and start your fashion empire, then his card declines and you only sell 2. That story doesn't really have a point. I guess I'm still a little upset he changed his order so drastically. Maybe I should market that shirt for real, then we'll see who sold more than 2 shirts. Okay, this next story is called Infection, and it requires some context. I am in a wheelchair. Not because of an injury, just a genetic thing, but I can't walk at all. I'll go into greater detail later because that deserves its own video. While we're at it, I also need to introduce my friends. They all chose fake names, except one, who will now be called ? Until further notice. These are my 4 best friends, Sam, James, who isn't in this story, Gerard, and ? I've known these guys since 3rd grade, and this story is when I actually got to know Gerard and ? So, on with the story. Me and a couple of guys, including Sam, are hanging out on the blacktop in 3rd grade. One more bit of context. Until middle school, I had a really small wheelchair that couldn't maneuver on the grass in elementary school. So, we're all on the blacktop thinking about what to do, since all the cool things were on the grass. Suddenly, someone, for the sake of the story let's say it was Sam, has the great idea to play tag. But not just ordinary tag, no. He wanted to play infection tag. For those of you not familiar with the game, it's just like normal tag, but instead of passing on being it from person to person, if you tag someone, you're both it, and the game ends when everyone becomes it. There were like 4 people to start, but the next day at lunch a few more people joined, including Gerard and ? Every day, a few more people joined, until there were like 40 or 50-ish kids. This lasted for most of the year, but eventually, so many people got injured from running around on the blacktop at full speed that the teacher made it only allowed, you guessed it, on the grass, completely defeating the original purpose. Oh well, it was fun while it lasted. This last bit isn't really a story, it's just a silly thing that happened at school. At our school book fair, they sold these rubber gummy bear things that smelled like different flavors. Within like 10 minutes of the first day, they were sold out of the entire week's supply. They had to order like 2 more shipments, and I never did get to buy one. I think they sold like twice as many of them as they did books. Technically, I didn't meet James until 4th grade, but it still counts. I'll probably wait a while before doing school part 3, so look forward to some other videos in the meantime. As always, like, subscribe, and if you want to be notified whenever a new video is released, click the notification bell. Okay, see you later.